Welcome again. Today, it's Hungary. No, not I'm hungry. It's the nation of Hungary. Today, we're going to talk about the immigrant group that came from Hungary and really changed American history. This is the truth. Hungarians are a very interesting group. There are about 2 million in this country now, and nearly a third of them are first generation. That is to say, a third of them had just come over from the old country. They're interesting in the sense that they changed atomic science. They were in on the invention of the atom bomb, teaching, mathematics, computers, music, arts, the film industry, philanthropy. Had the Hungarians not been here, I just don't know about what American history would look like. They're very, very different than it is now. Very different indeed. But they're not as noticeable as most Eastern European immigrant groups. And the reason is they are not of that same blood. They're in the midst of a Slavic community. That is to say, Slavs live all around them. But they're not Slavic. They're descendants of the Magyars, the Magyars came in, 1,000 years ago. And these people are closer to the Finns or the Estonians than they are to most Eastern European groups. So that's why they don't look Eastern European. And that's one of the things that we've always used for, what's the word I want? Well, it's racism is what it is. We've always marked certain groups and we say silly things like, well, they look Greek, or they look this, or they look that. It's hard to say that about a Hungarian. Look at the map and you can see what's happened in terms of their past. They're surrounded by Romania, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and Austria. Well, a lot of Slavs, but not the Austrians, of course, but the Czechoslovaks and Yugoslavs, but the Magyars were not Slavic, not at all. So the earliest people that established Hungary were probably the Romans. They came in and they called it Pannonia, and it was very important because they had posts on the Danube, so they could move transports, you see, and take care of their special wars. You remember the Romans and their games, my Lord. But in the 4th century, when Rome fell, the Magyars, who came from the western corner of the Soviet Union, near the Volga, the Magyars, a barbarian tribe, became very much involved in Hungary. They invaded, along with a lot of other tribes, but the Magyars stayed. And they had already mingled with the Turks. Now listen to this, because we're talking about a tribe from northwestern Russia that had hung around with the Turks for 1,000 years, and then they invaded Hungary after the influence of the Romans. Already things are very, very complicated. And these men, the Magyars, the tribes, were very well trained in horsemanship. From the time they were an infant, they were trained to learn to ride. When they were tiny children, they learned to ride. So they were called superb riders. I'm leading up to something. Are you on to me? They were called superb riders. They were javelin throwers, and they were wonderful archers. And for that reason, in Turkic, the language of the Turks, they were called onagors, which means the people of 10 arrows. From onagors came the word Onagarians, from which we get the word Hungarians. There, that was a long story to get to the name, but wonderful people. In 955, Otto the Great of Germany, King Otto, defeated this tribe and moved in. He brought Christianity along with him. And Stephen, in the year 1000, was crowned King of Hungary. And later on, he was canonized. Saint Stephen is very precious to the Hungarians. Well, anyhow, then the Ottomans, the Turks, took over again. And the Habsburgs in Vienna during the 1600s were fighting with the Turks over Hungary, and they liberated Hungary, and it wasn't really a bargain. The battle went on and on and on, and it wasn't until the late 1800s that things began to really settle in terms of political crises in Hungary. And in that time, a lot of people came to this country, a lot of Hungarians. Now, I'm going to talk about modern Hungary on another show. Hungarian food for me is so good that we're going to do a second show on Hungarian food. I do that with very few cultures, but Hungarian food's wonderful. But I'll tell you this, as a kind of prelude to our next discussion, Hungary was the first nation in the Soviet bloc to lift the Iron Curtain. That's not saying a small thing. That's pretty important. Now, a lot of Hungarian immigrants came to the United States. And you can go to Ron's supermarket in Los Angeles and do some shopping, and you'll find all sorts of Hungarian foods. Hungarian pickles, wonderful, wonderful pickles. Look at these. I found all kinds, big yellow ones. These have been stuffed with a yellow and red peppers pack. All of these are imported from Hungary. And here Are red peppers marinated? Aren't they gorgeous? Now, you're going to have to ask a question. You know that food has been short. Let's go. That's a sauce of tomato sauce and peppers. Oh, this stuff is so good. I've got it all here for us, too. You're going to have to ask a question. How come Hungary, being in the Soviet bloc, could export all this food? Well, the Hungarians are very industrious. Decide, Smith, which one? Take them both. That's all right. They're very industrious people. And they love peppers. They ship them out all over the world, and we certainly get our share. And sausages. The Hungarians make wonderful sausages. I suppose the Hungarian love for sausage had something to do with the Habsburgs, with the Viennese Empire 1,000 years ago. On the other hand, paprika, all the peppers that they love, came to Hungary we think with the Turks. Look at those sausages. This is Ron's. I told you that. In Los Angeles. It's on, I think it's on Sunset Boulevard. Oh, is it good. Now look, she looks through all these sausages. Isn't she gorgeous? To wrap these up for me. These are dried Hungarian sausages. At another show, I'll show you how to make those. It's not complicated, but they're hard to find. They're just delicious things. Look at them. Aren't they great? Aren't they great? That's Hungarian food. I love it. I go to a market like that and I get tears in my eyes because I think of the culture from which these foods have come. Well, let me get started here. I'm going to do some terrible things if you're on a health fad diet. I shouldn't say fad. We all need to cut down on fat and all, but one of the things I want you to know when we're doing these immigrant ancestor recipes is the background of the dish. One of the things that you use in Hungary would be lard, and you render your own. I know this sounds wild to you, but this is what you do. You render lard from chunks of pork fat, and they do it fresh all the time in Hungary. Isn't that wild? Just cook it until it becomes toasty, you see? And then you use the lard. Now, if you want to cut down on all the cholesterol, and yes, you've just seen 85 billion trillion units of cholesterol in this pot, you can use vegetable oil. But generally, when you're cooking this kind of food, you would use lard. Do that only on holidays. The rest of the time, for heaven's sakes, cut down and use vegetable oil. Now, I'm going to make a point here. You put some lard, 3 tablespoons or so. We're going to make a paprika gravy. That's the first dish. So I want 3 tablespoons of lard into a kettle, and just right out of the pot here, into the kettle, and we're going to toast the paprika there, in the lard. Now, this will give you a very unusual flavor. Let that get hot while I talk with you for a minute about paprika. This is what Hungarian paprika looks like. I have 2 different kinds. Craig and I bought these when we were in Budapest studying for this show. Aren't they beautiful? This is a little bit hotter. Excuse me, the long one's a little bit hotter. This is a little bit sweeter. Now, that is ground up into a powder, and you can buy, in Hungary, you buy paprika. You got that? This is a kilo. This is a kilo. That's more than a pound of very good sweet paprika. Now, some paprikas are a little bit hot, but this is a sweet paprika. I just realized we got a hole in the side of the bag. I carried 4 of these in my suitcase back from Hungary. I don't know what the import man said when he went through the x-ray machine and he saw 4-kilo bags sitting in there. You know, I'm glad to be back. I don't know what else could have happened. Or you can buy it in little bags. But in this country, generally you buy good paprika like this, Hungarian paprika, and it says Sago on it, you see? This is Szeged, but anyhow, it's from the village of Sago. Now, Sago is the village from whence my friend Laszlo came, and Laszlo's the one who brought us all of this embroidery from Hungary and these pots. Isn't it beautiful? It looks like a gypsy attack in here today, doesn't it? Isn't it gorgeous? This old Hungarian embroidery is just very, very popular. I love this stuff. These belong to Laszlo. Actually, this black one I bought in Budapest. If you're wondering about traveling in Hungary, don't be nervous at all. Go. So much fun. All right, let's get started here. I need some paprika. I've already opened 1 big bag. And you use this stuff like mad in Hungarian food. It's so good. Now, I have my lard is hot, you see. 3 tablespoons. And now put in about 2 tablespoons of paprika, strictly to taste. And you can use hot or sweet, or a mixture of both. We're making paprika gravy. I better turn my pan down here. I don't want to burn that. And a wooden spoon. Where'd I put him? Here it is. Toast that for just a minute. And then we're going to add, there we go. And then we're going to add, for our gravy, we're going to add some garlic. Clove of garlic chopped. Where is it? Here we go. There's a good fat clove. There we go. Stir that in. Cook that a bit. And then we're going to add some onion. And just let all of this saute a bit. And then, ooh, this is great. You can see the smoke and the gases get in your eye. In my kitchen, when smoke gets in your eye, it's heaven. It's really fun. And we want to add about half a cup of tomatoes. Just a little tomato. There we go. So you cook this first. All these vegetables. And I need some peppers. Now, the peppers that I want to use, this is the most common kind of pepper that you find in the markets in Hungary. In this country, the closest thing you can find is something called Cubanelle. Otherwise, you can try an Anaheim pepper. If you can't find a Cubanelle, give it a shot with an Anaheim. And just throw these in. Remember, keep your fingers bent under. How many times do I have to tell you that? Just throw that in the pot, a couple of these. They're not hot. They're closer to salad pepper, but they have a wonderful flavor. And I'm not worrying about the seeds because I'm going to strain all of this. All right. Now, here we go. Let's see if I've got everything in here. We have lard, paprika, garlic, the peppers, the tomatoes, the yellow onion, and we're going to cook that for a while until it begins to collapse. Just a few minutes. And then we're going to add this. I never do this to you, so I must explain. In order to get a nice rich gravy like they have in Hungary, I did this. I cheated. I'm going to put in a teaspoon of chicken stock. Now, I'm using Miners. I think this is very good. Chicken base. I think it's very good stuff. Please don't use bouillon cubes. This is much better. You can find it in most markets now. Put in a teaspoon of that, just to give this a little bit of a kick. And we want 6 cups of beef stock. And, of course, I'm using my own good beef stock. 6 cups of beef stock. There. Now, I'm taking a lot of time to do this gravy because it is, how do you say, basic. Just basic to Hungarian cooking. Let that cook for about half an hour. Bring it to a boil and then turn it to a simmer. Let that cook for about half an hour. And then we're going to thicken that. We're going to thicken that with sour cream and flour. You want a cup of sour cream. Where's my whipper here? A cup of sour cream and 3/4 of a cup of flour. 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup. And then just mix this all up. It gets to be very pasty. I'm not going to take time to do this. Besides, I'm making an awful mess here this morning. But yeah, just do this, and then stir it into the hot gravy. And don't worry about the lumps, because you're going to strain this out. But do stir it in very firmly so that you shouldn't have many lumps at all. There we are. And when you finish, oh, this is good. When you finish, here's the gravy that you get. You see this? Isn't that beautiful stuff? And it's full of paprika. And oh boy, is it versatile. Is it versatile. Wonderful stuff. Let me check my burner here. I want to be sure we've got enough water. The next one, another thing that's basic, paprika, peppers. And no, not all peppers are called paprika. The dried ones, incidentally, they probably came from Turkey with the Turks. And the village of Segel prides themselves in their ability to mellow out the peppers and invent what you and I love as sweet paprika. And paprika, Lord, the Hungarians just eat it like mad. It's just amazing. I was shocked to see that peppers are on sale on every street corner, and oh, it's fun. Dried ones, I've got some slides I'll show you next time on Hungary. But now I want to make a dumpling for you. And this is very, very simple. It's a good dumpling that probably came to them from the Viennese or the Germans. Now, some Hungarians are going to call me and tell me I'm a nasty person for even saying that, but those are the breaks, kids. Now, I want 2 eggs into a bowl. This is very much like a spätzle, which, of course, any German would claim, you see. Very much like a spätzle. Now we want the 2, oops, watch that. There you are. I'm doing the same thing you do, you know? You get those chips in your food, you can't help it. I want 2 tablespoons now of lard. And this is not hot. Otherwise, you'll cook the eggs. And I'm doing this just because I want the flavor. You can use oil if you like. 2 tablespoons. I'm using a soup spoon. That's why I put in 3. If you were watching closely, you know what had happened here. And then I want to add 2.5 cups of flour to my beaten eggs. Whip in the lard. We better get the other liquids in here first. 1/2 cup of milk and 1/2 cup of water. There we go. And I want to put in about, what do I want, a teaspoon? No, a fourth of a teaspoon. I want just a little bitty baking powder in my flour. So I'll put in about a fourth of a teaspoon of baking powder. Oh, I like them a little lighter than that. What's the difference? And a pinch of salt. And you be sure that you mix up the solids, the flours and the spices and that sort of thing first. Otherwise, you'll get into trouble stirring them into liquids. There it is. That's enough. I'm just going to stir that with a fork. And then that'll do it. You want to blend the baking powder throughout, you see. And that goes into our blended flour, blended milk, water, a little bit of lard, and there we go. And the water. Water, milk, lard, 2 eggs. And we put in the flour along with a bit of baking powder and some salt. There, that goes. That's nicely. We're going to make a dumpling. Whip that up a bit. There we go. All right. That's fine. That looks about right. Show how to do this now. It's really great. It's really great fun. But you have to have a spatzel press. And the spatzel press can be purchased in Budapest or at any German market in this country. Now, this is how you use one. You see what it is? And this moves back and forth. It's great fun. The water is salted and it's boiling. So I'm going to put in some dumpling mix here. And this thing's so much fun to use. And you see it takes very little time to make them. And they'll just sort of fall through. That's a weird way of putting it, but that's what they're going to do. Now watch this. As you move it back and forth, you see that? It cuts off dumplings. And they fall in the pot. You can't see that, so I'll show you what's happening. See the dumplings coming through? Isn't that fun? Now, as we go on, I want to talk some more here. I want to make a pot of dumplings. The third thing I want to do for you today, it will sound very strange, but it's a classic first dish from Budapest. I can't remember which restaurant. Well, I'll talk. When I get Craig on here to finish this dish, he'll remember where we got these. It's a wonderful dish of smoked tongue, beef tongue, and you pan fry it and serve it with paprika gravy. That's going to be enough for us, I think. I'll put the rest of these aside here and stir this. See what I have? Aren't they gorgeous? Cute little things. Just do about a half a batch at a time, I think is plenty. I'll let those cook for just a minute or so. And let's see, I have a tongue in here. The smoked tongue is first of all boiled. And you boil it with a little parsley, a couple of bay leaves. Oh, get a big one here. Here you are. Bay leaves, some, no salt, but a little pepper perhaps, and some onion, carrot, celery, that sort of thing, as if you're making a good soup. And we'll trim that. I've peeled it. You boil it for about 3.5 hours, and then take it out and let it cool. Or actually, let it cool in the broth. That's better. And then peel it. And the peel comes right off. And then slice it. 1/4 inch thick. See where my fingers are? No, I'm not cutting myself. My fingers are right up against the knife. That way I know where it's going to go. Now you flour this. By flour, I mean you dip it in flour. And a little egg. This is so good. And then you pan fry it. Flour and egg, and you pan fry it. Traditionally in Budapest, they would do it in lard. Boy, we got enough cholesterol rolling around here today. Isn't it awful? But it's old home cooking, and once in a while you just have to have it. You just have to have it. Let's see, I have a whole pan full of those around here. Let me show you what happens when you pan fry these. They are so good. You ready? Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I just love them. I had these for the first time. Postacozy, I think, yes, I'm sure. Postacozy, which means the post office stop in Hungarian. It's right on the edge of the city, near the river, and it's a lovely, lovely place. And they served them thusly. Oops, hold it, I made a great mistake. Let me show you why. See what would happen if I put gravy on the top? It looked terrible. What I should have done was to put the gravy in the pan first, on the plate. so that the meat sits on the gravy. It's, make a puddle of it. All right. There. Maybe another one, huh? Now we're ready. All right, now we'll put, now we've got it. Well, I've got to be careful. I don't want to get anything on Laszlo's beautiful embroidery here. Now you see, when you eat this, you have a little gravy with it. Oh, it's good. Craig, will you come and get these dumplings out of the pot for me? They are so ready. Don't overcook these Hungarian dumplings. Now you notice he's going to take them out with a strainer. That's it. Great. And just let them drain for a bit. In the meantime, I will present our first course for today, which is smoked tongue in paprika gravy. Is that not beautiful? Let me get these rascals out. I have so many things to show you. So many things to show you. Now, you can do the same thing with a pork steak, except that this pork steak has been pounded with a bit of celery seed first, and then it's floured and pan-fried. It's so good. Celery seed. Can you imagine? Let me get some gravy on the platter. Just a little bit to sit on. Now, on the top, these have been pounded a bit with a metal meat pounder so that they're rather thin. There. Now, I put a little gravy on the top, and on top of this, let me show you a cute little trick here. I don't know if I have time for any cute tricks today, gang, but I want you to see this one. If you mix a little gravy with some sour cream, it will change the color. Oh, this is so good. Hungarians are wonderful cooks. Look, see, now watch this. Just blend this with a little of the gravy, and then you pour that over the top. And these steaks, as I said, are just regular pork steaks. We've deboned them, pounded them thin, and then rubbed them with celery seed. And the celery seed gives it that wonderful flavor. And then we floured them with a little egg and flour and pan-fried them. So here's the second dish. Now, you're going to say too much meat and too much fat, I know, but now I'll get out the vegetables. And most of these things will be peppers. The first one I want you to see, pickle things. Whoops, wrong one. It's over here in the corner. Let's get it out here for you. Notice I put a rag on my board before I put a bowl on it, anything that's hot, because otherwise you'll burn the wood or you'll make the wood taste just awful. And you don't want to do that ever. I'm out of plates here. I just want to show you something. Look, if you take sauerkraut and cook it in... Oh, this is good. Craig, you better get that pork roast out here and start slicing it. Clear off that spot there for yourself, will you? Or we're gonna have to leave these friends of ours and they won't see all the goodies. Cook the sauerkraut with a little bit of the gravy. Cook it for about an hour and a half or so. You see this? Isn't that beautiful? Hold on, I need a towel too. Thank you, sir. Okay. This is so good. And sauerkraut cooked this way doesn't have that acidic flavor that your children dislike. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what have you got, Craig?
Roasted pork loin that's been rubbed with a little bit of salt and pepper and garlic and paprika, of course.
Paprika, along with the garlic. And you're going to slice some of that up and then bring it out for us.
Sure.
All right. In the meantime, I want to show you some peppers. These peppers have been pickled, not by Peter with his pack of peppers, but by Hungarians. And you can buy all of these in jars from Hungary. Aren't they gorgeous? And the jars are really interesting because they come packed this way. This is a very good band, Matra. But look at the top. Isn't it beautiful? Marion, my friend who helps me here, said, why don't we do that with our jars? I don't know why we don't. It's so colorful, I can't believe it. You're all ready. You need a platter here?
Sure.
Fix you up. Okay. And I've got to grab my list. I know there's some more here. There we go. All right.
Thank you.
Indeed, sir. I want you to put some dumplings on that. While you're finishing, I have an onion salad. I'm going to tell you what it is and tell you how quickly to make it. Onion sliced thin, mixed with mayonnaise, salt, and pepper, very Hungarian. Isn't that a smash? And here is an onion salad, a tossed pepper salad made of all kinds of peppers, including the little cubanas, and then our regular sweet bell peppers of several different colors. There, I think we're down to it. Are you ready, sir?
A little bit of sauce on this and we're all set.
All right, let's do it. Now put your sauce on it, and I think we're ready. That's great. Put that right out in front, Craig.
Okay. Oh, that's
Can you reach that?
With my short legs, I don't know.
Thank you.
Sure.
Which restaurant was it? come back. Post-it cozy, and what was the other good one in Budapest?
Our other favorite, Mergerkert.
Mergerkert.
That was an excellent one. Fantastic.
I'm not suggesting that you pack your bags tonight and go to Budapest in order to learn about the Hungarians. Find a good Hungarian restaurant in your neighborhood, or find someone who's Hungarian, because, as I said, there are about 2 million of them in this country, and they pride themselves in their use of the pepper. They were the ones who made paprika mild and sweet and heavenly. And with it, you can make wonderful meat dishes and salads that you simply wouldn't believe, or cook sauerkraut in a good paprika gravy, and teach your children to taste other cultures and let them know it's important to our American being. This is the Frugal Gourmet. Till I see you again, Cosimo, thank you very much. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.